Scrooge walked through the door. As the light dimmed down, he was then greeted by the spirit. It was the same woman that greeted Marley when he entered the spirit world, stood by the fire. Scrooge then asked, "Are you the spirit that was foretold?" "I am," she said, with wild frizzy hair, a long robe gown and an old tattered dress and heeled boots, as if she was a witch but young and beautiful. She said, "I am the ghost of Christmas past. Your past, to be precise." "My past? What do you want to show me that for?" "It is what I am assigned to. Come, take my robe." "Your robe?" "Yes, just grab it." Scrooge then takes her robe, and then in a bright beam, Scrooge is in a small classroom where he was a child. "Do you remember this?" "Yes. I went to school here. I never really had many friends. After my mother died, my father sent me off to boarding school. Never once got a letter or a birthday card off him. No, nothing. Yet he raised my sister Fanny." Scrooge looks at himself as a child. As he then touches, he then finds he can't feel him. The spirit tells him, "These are the shadows of what have been. They can't hear you or see you." "What, so you're just here to show me the past?" "Indeed." The teacher then walks into the classroom and says, "Well then, Scrooge, my boy, it seems it's just you and me again. Your father not coming for you?" "No," said the young Scrooge. "You remember him?" "I do. He was a nasty bastard. Always got drunk and then made me do all the chores and labour. And then he would beat me as well. I couldn't tell anyone." Scrooge then sees his younger self scrubbing the floor. There, the headmaster stands over him with a drinking bottle and says, "You clean that up now, boy." He then throws the bottle onto the floor and shouts at him, "Clean that up now, you little shit," and hits him with a cane. Scrooge then saying, "I could never stand up to him, but I did speak up and he did get reported. I suffered with it for years." Then Scrooge sees himself as a teenager, where his sister comes and says, "Eddie." "Fanny, what are you doing? I barely recognize you. You've gone so big." "It's time." "Time? You're 15 years old now, and it's time you left school. Dad's arranged an apprenticeship for you." "An apprenticeship? What are you talking about?" "Last I ever saw of Father was when he sent me off here to this hellhole." "Oh no, Ed, he's changed now. Come." Scrooge then walks to his father, where he is waiting for him at a car. He then says, "Well, I barely recognize you, boy. Are you ready to learn a thing called responsibility? Well, yes, good. Because since I've been away, I've turned my life around and now I work for me. What do you know of loaning? Loaning? Scrooge then sees his past. Then the spirit says, your father's first acknowledging you in a long time. He taught you how to make money. Yes, he did. Worked my way up. Of course, he was always a bit of a drunk still, as I remember. In the end, it took him. A young adult Scrooge then sees his father being buried and comforting his pregnant sister. He was a nasty man. He was abusive to us both. I feel so guilty leaving you, letting him raise you. It's okay, Ed. He's dead now. I just wish he could have cut the drinking out. Oh, yeah. Your soon-to-be nephew in that memory grew up without a father. He was a waste of space. My father hated him. But of course, she gave birth and raised him single-handedly until he was 8 years old. Leukemia. Scrooge then goes into a hospital where he asks the nurse to see his sister Fanny. He walks into the room and says to her, Fanny? Scrooge, my brother Eddie, you always let me call you that because I couldn't pronounce your name right, Ebenezer. Yes. Everything's going to be fine. I need you to promise me something, said Fanny. Anything? I want you to take care of Fred for me. Now, come on, it's not going to come to that. Eddie, I'm so very weak. And he needs someone to look after him. You two are the only family you've got left. Please promise me you'll look after him. And you did, didn't you? Said the spirit. I looked after him for a short while, yes. But I was busy putting work first. That is when you started to put work before everything else. I had a nanny look after the boy. I provided, put a roof over his head, took him in. Yes, you did. Scrooge then sees his younger self in a pub, sitting quietly in a corner, not really caring much about the festivities. Everyone's celebrating and singing. I remember this night. Of course. It's when you met her, isn't it? Yes, it was. Bella. Young Scrooge then sees Bella approaching him, saying, Now then, what's a grump like you doing? Christmas isn't really my time. Oh, come on. Everyone should be in a good mood. It's Christmas. Come on. How about you buy us a drink and have a chat? I appreciate the offer. Oh, come on. It'll be like a gift. Very well. Young Scrooge then hits it off with her. As Scrooge watches and has good memories, the spirit says, for the first time ever, you actually started to talk to others, and then you fell in love with her. Yes, I did. I never had a feeling like that before. It was beautiful. Scrooge then sees himself on Christmas morning. What is this? He sees his younger self with Bella, happily married with 2 children, opening presents on Christmas morning. He then says, this never happened. Of course not, said the spirit. This is the shadows of what could have been if you had not changed your ways. Why are you showing me this? As tears ran down Scrooge's face. Because you could have had this. You could have been happy, but you chose another path. Scrooge then sees himself, his nephew, saying, so Uncle Ed, I've got my own place if you want to come and see it. No, Fred, I'm busy. By the way, how old are you now, eh? 16, 17? I'm 19, Uncle. Of course. I'm glad that you can look after yourself now. Well, at least let us do Christmas dinner for you. I mean, you took me in when I was young, and yes, I didn't have a choice. I promised your mum I would look after you, and I have done. Now, excuse me, I've got business to attend to. Scrooge then leaves a person's house with a television set and loads it in the van. There he sees Bella, saying, so are we still on for that Christmas drink later? Yeah, about that. I've got, work to do. You always seem to be putting work before everything nowadays. Yeah, well, it's to provide for you. It's so I can get money to buy nice things for you. On Christmas Eve, Scrooge is sat in a pub, having a quiet drink. Now middle-aged, Bella comes in and sits at the table. What's wrong with you then? Nothing, it's just 5 years ago you asked me to marry you, and, well, here we are still engaged. Look, I said we'll get married, but right now I just don't have the time. No, you never seem to have the time. You just seem to be putting your work first. Yeah, well, I can't help that, can I? I don't think this is working out. I got a job, It's quite a good job in Croydon. Then fuck off to Croydon, said Scrooge in an angry manner. She then said, goodbye, Ebenezer, and walks out the pub. Scrooge then saying, what are you doing? Go after her. Go after her. These are the shadows of what have been, said the spirit. You can't change that. Yeah, I can see that. Is this what you come to do. Bring back things that I want to repress for a reason, forget about. You just brought nothing but fucking trouble my way. Come, I have some more to show you. Scrooge then takes some possessions from another house, loading it into his van. Bob Cratchit's wife comes out begging, saying, "Please, Mr. Scrooge, we can only just afford, you a turkey. Look, if you can't pay, I'll take it away. Look, please, I'll do anything. I'm desperate. It's hard for my husband to get work. He's even out on Christmas Eve at a job centre looking for anything to do. Please, please, I'll do anything." "Anything?" "Yes." "Very well then. Come by my place at, shall we say, 8 o'clock this evening, and we'll sort something out." As the evening comes in, Mrs. Cratchit comes and says, "I'm here, as you asked." "Good. Do you know why I've called you here?" "I imagine you want something from me, so you'll just settle the debt or whatever." Mrs. Cratchit starts to undo her top, and Mr. Scrooge says, "What are you doing? You being some sort of a trollop?" "No, it's just..." "I lost my partner about a year ago. I was thinking your husband, if he's looking for work, maybe he could work off that debt that he owes me, that you owe me." "You mean you'll employ my husband?" "Yes, but of course, every penny he makes will come to me. Do you understand that? You don't have to try anything with me. I'm not a vile man like you were thinking." "No, but you are still a nasty piece. You get a kick out of this, ruining people's Christmas, taking things." "They owe me money." Yes, of course, that's all you ever care about, money. Do you ever think what other people are going through? Why they might need money? Someone could have an illness. Yeah, of course, that's not my problem. It is theirs, isn't it? Now, you can tell your husband he can start work first thing Boxing Day. How does that sound? If only you could see our children. Yeah, of course. I never wanted kids. I pretty much looked after my nephew whenever I felt like it. Now go on, get out." "Fine. I'll get out then." Mrs. Cratchit then leaves Scrooge's apartment feeling filthy and really upset. "And of course you did employ him." "It wasn't easy working alone without my good partner, Jacob." "What is Bella doing now? Whatever happened to her? I haven't seen her in 30 years. I only show the past. I cannot show you the shadows of what are." "Then what fucking good to me are you then? What, you want to just do that, bring up memories, and then tell me I can't check it on and stuff? Why the Why the fuck are you showing me this? Show me what I could have had with Bella and what I turned down. I've told you already. Yes, these are the shadows of what I've been. Whipty frickin' do. Why are you here? Why do you do this? In life, I was not a nice woman. I was pretty much like you. I had a husband. I had 3 children. My husband, not a nice man. Nasty and vile. Always drinking and leaving me to do all the chores and provide for our children. In the end, I wished that if I could go back and change my past, stop myself from ever meeting him, from having children that didn't even respect me either. I wished that I could go back and just never have that life. Every Christmas, I just wished that I just did not meet him. And here I am. I killed my husband, hit him on the head with a hammer. As for my children, I completely had them orphaned. I was taken to prison. And when was this? Oh, long ago now. In the 1800s. 1800s? Yes. Of course, in this life as a ghost, I now must show those who do not see the true meaning of Christmas, and I show them their shadows of the past. So just think, your past could be so much worse than mine, but it isn't. Just because you've had a shit past doesn't mean that I'm gonna resort to the stuff you did in life. Of course not. Just leave me. I don't want to see anymore. Of course, my time is done here. But you still have more to learn. Scrooge then sits down and starts to cry. And then he appears back in his flat, in his armchair. Oh, fuck me. Scrooge then gets up and pours himself another whiskey drink and goes into the bathroom and splashes some water in his face. Meanwhile, back in the spirit world, Marley stands by the fire where he sees the spirit. He then says, "How did it go then?" I showed him his shadows, things that he wanted to forget. But that was part of it all. He had to see the shadows of who he once was so that he can improve himself. But he does not see that. So what now? The next one of us will go. That is right, said the fat man in a Christmas jumper and a coat. Well, you're going next, said Marley. Indeed I am. After drying his face, Scrooge then sees a bright beaming light. He looks at the clock in his bathroom and sees that is the early hours of Christmas morning. He then hears a voice go, "Scrooge! Scrooge! Come on out!" Scrooge reluctantly goes up to the door and says, "Let's just get this over with." He opens, and there a bright light beams through once again, where he goes to meet the next spirit.